The stars hung still in the black sky, silent and cold. From high above Earth, the orbital station Orpheon floated in geosynchronous orbit. It looked like a shining wheel in the void, turning slowly as it scanned the space beyond the solar system. Inside the control deck, Captain Jax Meller stood with his hands behind his back. The large window in front of him showed a peaceful Earth below. Blue oceans, green lands, soft clouds. It all looked calm. Too calm. Jax was a tall man with sharp eyes and short black hair. He had seen war before, on the frontier worlds, long ago. Now he watched in silence, trusting his instincts. Something was wrong. "Lieutenant Vale," he said, his voice steady. "Any movement in the outer belt?" Vale, a young officer at the console, checked the scans. "No unusual activity, sir. Just regular transport traffic. A few mining drones returning to Mars." Jax narrowed his eyes. "Double check. Use the deep scan grid. Focus on the Kuiper region." Vale hesitated, then nodded and tapped the controls. Jax turned back to the window. For years, Earth had stayed quiet. After the Frontier War, the Terran Council shut down most military operations. Peace was the goal. Exploration, trade, science, not war. But Jax remembered the cost of that war, how Earth was nearly overrun by raiders when its defenses were weak. After that, a secret project had begun. A fleet hidden in the stars. A last resort weapon, known only to a few. Jax was one of them. Captain Vale said, breaking the silence. "I've got something." Faint signals, deep space shadows. Not rocks, not natural. Jax walked over. On the screen, ghost-like shapes moved in the black beyond Neptune. "Mark them," he said quietly. "Log every trajectory. Don't alert command yet." Vale gave him a worried look. "Do you think it's them?" Jax didn't answer. He stared at the screen, then turned away. "Continue monitoring," he said. "I'll file a report." Later in his private quarters, Jax opened a secured channel. The lights dimmed. A small screen blinked on. A logo appeared. Protocol Dreadwake. Eyes only. He didn't send a message yet. Not without proof. But deep down, he already knew. The Varn Dominion was on the move. And Earth was not ready. But Jax was. A cold silence filled the council chamber in New Geneva, Earth's capital. 12 leaders sat around a circular table, their holographic screens flickering with updates from the outer sectors. At the center, a large display showed a map of the solar system. Red markers blinked just beyond Pluto. Captain Jax Meller stood straight, hands clasped behind his back. His face was calm, but his voice was firm. "They're not cargo ships. They're warships, moving in tight formation, no identification beacons. Varn Dominion signature patterns match perfectly." A gray-haired counselor, Chancellor Vorn, leaned forward. "And how do you know this isn't another false alarm? Pirates? Decoys?" Jax didn't blink. "I've faced Varn war fleets before. Their formation, energy patterns, silent approach, it's all the same. They're coming." A murmur spread around the room. Some counselors looked anxious. Others looked skeptical. "They haven't crossed into our territory yet," Counselor Rin said. "We should wait. Avoid provoking them." Jax took a slow breath. With respect, waiting is what they want. They think we're weak. They think Earth has no defenses. There was a heavy pause. Finally, Chancellor Vorn spoke again. "What are you suggesting, Captain?" "Activate Protocol Dreadwake," Jax said. "Bring the Dreadnoughts online. Put them into standby at minimum. Let them know we are not helpless." The room went silent again. "That protocol was sealed decades ago," Rin said sharply. "Unveiling our weapons now could start a war we cannot finish." Jax's jaw tightened. "If we wait, there won't be a war. There will be a conquest. And we'll be slaves." The vote was taken. The result denied. "You are dismissed, Captain," Vorn said. "We will monitor the situation closely." Jax left the chamber without another word. He didn't slam the door. He didn't raise his voice. But inside he was already making a decision. Back aboard Station Orpheon, Jack stared at the live feed of the outer system. The red blips had grown larger. More ships were arriving. The Varn fleet was massing. Then came the message. A loud alarm echoed through the control deck. The main screen blinked and shifted. A tall alien figure appeared. A scaled creature with deep crimson armor. His eyes burned with cold cruelty. "I am Warlord Kael Threx, ruler of the Varn Dominion," the voice boomed. "To the people of Earth, your world is unguarded. Your fleets are dust. Surrender peacefully, and you may be spared." Kael's face twisted into a sharp grin. "Resist and I will burn your skies." The screen went black. The control deck was silent. Jax looked around at his officers. "No response," he ordered. "Not yet." Later, in a private chamber deep within Station Orpheon, Jack stood before a secured vault. He placed his hand on the scanner. It beeped. A mechanical voice spoke. "Protocol Dreadwake authorization accepted. Begin awakening sequence." Jack stared at the panel. "Yes," he said softly. "Awaken them." Far out in the asteroid belt, deep within cold stone, machines began to stir. Hidden bays opened. Lights flickered to life. Giant steel hulls hummed with energy. The dreadnoughts were waking. Far beyond Mars, deep within the shadows of the asteroid belt, something ancient began to move. Buried inside hollowed-out asteroids, massive war machines came to life. Lights flickered across thick metal hulls. Reactors, silent for decades, hummed with rising power. AI systems scanned their surroundings and began running checks. These were Earth's last line of defense. The dreadnoughts, 10 ships, each the size of a city, created in secret after the Frontier War, hidden from the galaxy, built not for show but for survival. Captain Jax Millar stood aboard the command dreadnought, Vigilant Star. Its bridge was dark, lit only by glowing blue consoles. The walls were armored steel. No decoration, no comfort, only function. His crew, hand-picked over the years, worked quickly. Most of them had never seen the ship fully active. Now they saw the stars from inside one of the most powerful weapons ever built. "Status report," Jack said. Commander Lyra, his second-in-command, answered. "Core is stable. Weapons are online. Cloak system is holding. We're ready." "Good," Jax replied. "Keep us hidden. We move to intercept range, but we do not fire unless provoked." Lyra gave a short nod. "Understood." In the outer system, the Varn Dominion fleet moved closer. Hundreds of warships, fighters, carriers, siege craft. Aboard his flagship, Kael Threx stood in front of a star map. His cold eyes studied the slow-moving dots representing Earth's orbit. His voice echoed across the command bridge. "No response from Earth. No defenses detected, just like I said." A Varn officer spoke. "We've detected minor energy spikes in the asteroid belt, possibly mining operations." Kael smirked. "Let them mine. It won't save them." He turned to his fleet. "Ready the invasion force. Begin descent in 6 hours." Back on the Vigilant Star, Jack sat in the captain's chair. A small screen opened in front of him, an encrypted channel from Earth's council. Vorn's image appeared, tired and pale. "Captain Millar, we've received news of your unauthorized activation of the dreadnoughts." "I did what needed to be done," Jax replied calmly. "You saw Kael's message. They're coming." Vorn hesitated. "You may have triggered a war." Jax's eyes narrowed. "No, Kael already started it. I'm finishing it." The screen went dark. In space, 3 stealth ships broke formation and moved ahead of the dreadnoughts, small, fast, and silent. They approached the edge of Varn territory and launched a swarm of defense drones. Without warning, a Varn scout ship detected them and opened fire. The battle had begun. Jax watched from the bridge as the feed came in. Enemy ships reacting. "We've been discovered," Lyra said. "Then we show them," Jax said. "Begin dreadnought deployment." One by one the massive ships uncloaked. Their hulls glowed with energy. Plasma cannons rotated into place. Engines burned like small suns. Across the stars, Varn sensors lit up in alarm. Kael stared at his screen in shock. What is this?" Jax leaned forward in his chair. "Let them come," he said. "Now they know Earth is not sleeping." The cold silence of space was shattered by light. Beams of energy flashed through the dark as Earth's dreadnoughts fired their first shots. Red warnings lit up across Varn Dominion warships. Explosions bloomed like fireflowers in the void. Aboard the Vigilant Star, Captain Jax Meller watched the battle unfold. His dreadnought sat at the center of Earth's secret fleet. Around him, 9 more dreadnoughts moved in a slow, powerful formation. Dreadnoughts 2 through 5, target the Varn forward line, Jax ordered. "Do not pursue, hold the line." Commander Lyra nodded. Orders sent, firing sequence confirmed. Earth's dreadnoughts released a second wave of fire, massive plasma rounds and kinetic slugs meant to tear through enemy hulls. A Varn cruiser broke in two. Another spun out of control, its engines burning. On the far side of the asteroid belt, Earth's automated drone fleets joined the fight. Thousands of small, fast attack drones swarmed the Varn outer ranks, targeting weak spots. Jax knew this was just the beginning. Meanwhile, on the ground, the people of Earth watched the sky. News reports confirmed the unthinkable. Earth was at war, and it was fighting back. Civilians gathered near public screens. Children pointed at live fleet maps. For the first time in generations, fear was replaced by something else: pride. The secret was out. Earth was not defenseless. Inside his flagship, Warlord Kale, Threx paced the bridge like a trapped beast. His command ship, the Blood Rain, was surrounded by chaos. "They were supposed to be weak," he shouted. "Where did those ships come from?" A Varn officer trembled as he answered, "We are still outnumbered, my lord. But they are strong. Their firepower is greater than expected." Kale's eyes burned. "Then we crush them quickly. Call in the second wave. Aim everything at their lead ship." Back on the Vigilant Star, alarms rang out. "Enemy vessels regrouping," Lyra said. "They're focusing on us." Jax stood from his chair. "Raise shields. Prepare evasive pattern Theta 9. The dreadnought groaned as it shifted course. Enemy beams slammed against the shields, glowing like molten chains. The ship shook, but it held. "Fire main cannon," Jax ordered. A blast of white energy burst from the front of the Vigilant Star, piercing through space and striking Kale's forward battleship. The Varn vessel broke apart and exploded. Jax narrowed his eyes. "Let Kale see what happens when you threaten Earth." As the battle raged, the Varn fleet began to fall back slightly. Their tight formation broke. Smaller ships scattered, unsure of how to face Earth's monstrous defenders. But Jax knew better. Kale wouldn't retreat. Not yet. "This is just his first move," Jax said quietly. Lyra looked at him. "What do we do now?" Jax stared at the enemy ships still gathering beyond the field of debris. "We push forward," he said. "We finish what we started." The blackness of space lit up like a storm. Earth's dreadnoughts had fully entered the battle zone, and now their full power was unleashed. The Vigilant Star, leading the fleet, moved with calm force. Plasma turrets rotated smoothly. Missile pods opened along its sides. Its engines glowed a deep blue. The dreadnought was not just a ship, it was a symbol. A message to the galaxy. Earth would not kneel. Inside the bridge, Captain Jax Meller watched each screen carefully. His voice was steady. "Dreadnoughts 6 and 7, flank right. Push the enemy toward Sector Delta. All drone wings, tighten formation around lead ships." "Confirmed," Commander Lyra replied, her fingers dancing across the console. "Enemy rear lines are collapsing." The Varn Dominion fleet had not expected this. They were used to overwhelming weak planets. But Earth's ships were stronger, smarter, designed in silence, prepared for war without needing war. One of Earth's dreadnoughts, the Titan Spear, fired a rail cannon round that cut straight through 3 Varn destroyers in one shot. Another ship, Obsidian Blade, deployed a gravity net that tore an enemy carrier in half. Jax gave no cheers. No celebration. "Stay sharp," he warned. "Kale's still out there." Aboard the Blood Rain, Warlord Kale Threx stood frozen, his claws digging into the edge of the command table. His eyes flared with rage. How are they doing this? How can one world hold this kind of firepower? His lead technician answered nervously. They built these ships in secret, hidden in the asteroid belt. They've had years to prepare. We underestimated them. Kale growled deep in his throat. Fools, this changes nothing. I will burn their home world to ash. He gave the order. All ships regroup. Prepare for full assault on their command vessel. Target the Vigilant Star. We take out their captain, and the rest will fall. Back at the front, Lyra turned to Jax. Sir, they're focusing on us. Kale is coming. Jax looked at the screen. Kale's command fleet was forming a sharp wedge, heading straight for them. This is it, he said. The heart of the storm. He stood from his chair. Begin evasive maneuvers. Charge the dread cannon. The enemy came fast. A wall of fire and metal. Varn ships fired everything they had. Lasers, torpedoes, ion bursts. The Vigilant Star shook violently under the impact. Alarms rang. Sparks flew from a side panel. Shields down to 52%. Lyra called out. Hold your course, Jax replied. Fire on my mark. The ship spun slowly, exposing its side weapons array. The dread cannon, mounted underneath the hull, locked onto Kale's flagship. Mark. The cannon fired. A beam of pure energy, wide as a city, cut through space and slammed into the blood rain. The force shattered two of its escorts and sent the flagship spinning. Kale was thrown to the floor. Sirens screamed around him. Flames rose from a cracked console. Evacuate secondary decks. A voice cried. Hull breach on level 5. Kale pulled himself up. His eyes narrowed. His pride burned hotter than the fires around him. I want Melar, he hissed. Prepare my ship. I will face him myself. Back aboard the Vigilant Star, Lyra looked at Jax with wide eyes. We hit them hard. He's angry. Jax nodded. Good, let him come. He stepped forward and looked out through the viewing glass at the distant burning enemy flagship. We've woken the stars, he said quietly. Now we end this. The stars above Neptune glowed faintly as broken ships drifted across the battlefield. Fires flickered in the darkness. Pieces of metal and debris spun silently. Earth's fleet had held its ground, but the fight wasn't over. Captain Jax Meller stood at the center of the Vigilant Star's bridge, calm and ready. The crew moved quickly around him. The air smelled faintly of heated circuits and smoke. Damage teams worked non-stop to keep the Dreadnought running. Status, Jax asked. Commander Lyra wiped a streak of sweat from her forehead. Shields at 34%. Weapons at 78%. Kale's flagship is still moving, but barely. Jax looked at the screen. The blood rain, wounded and burning, limped toward them with two remaining escort ships. But now something was different. Sir, Lyra said. A shuttle just launched from Kale's ship. It's coming straight at us. Jax narrowed his eyes. He's coming here. The bridge fell silent. Let him, Jax said. Prepare the docking bay. No tricks. The shuttle docked. Steam hissed as the airlock opened. Out stepped Warlord Kale. Threx, tall and armored in black metal, eyes glowing with fury. He walked into the Vigilant Star's hangar like he owned it. Jax stood waiting, dressed in his dark blue uniform, calm as stone. Kale's voice was low and sharp. You fight well, Meller. But you've made a mistake. I've made a stand, Jax replied. This is Earth. We don't kneel. Kale growled. You could have stayed hidden. But now the galaxy sees your weapons. War will come again. Jax stepped forward. Then we'll be ready. Kale's hand moved fast. A blade extended from his arm. Jax rolled to the side, drawing his own short plasma saber. The duel began. Metal clashed. Sparks flew. Kale fought with brute strength, swinging heavy and fast. Jax moved with precision, dodging and striking when he saw an opening. Kale slashed and missed. Jax ducked and hit his ribs. Kale roared and drove Jax backward with a heavy blow. Jax fell but rolled aside before the final strike landed. The hangar echoed with each hit. Officers stood by, weapons drawn but not interfering. Kale lunged again, this time too fast. Jax used Kale's momentum, sidestepped and drove his saber deep into Kale's side. Starsh the warlord stumbled. Jax held the blade steady. It's over. Kale coughed, blood on his lips. You think this ends with me? Jax looked him in the eye. No, but it starts with you. He pulled the blade free. Kale collapsed, breathing hard but alive. Take him to the brig, Jax ordered. Later, back on the bridge, the crew watched as the remains of the Varn fleet retreated. Without their leader, they scattered into the void. Earth's dreadnoughts stood silent in victory. Lyra turned to Jax. It's done. Jax sat down slowly. For now, they all knew this was only the beginning, but they had survived. They had fought back, and they had won. The war was over. For now the stars were quiet. The broken pieces of the Varn fleet drifted slowly beyond Neptune, silent reminders of a battle Earth was never supposed to win. But it did. Earth had stood tall. Aboard the Vigilant Star, Captain Jax Meller walked alone through the ship's main corridor. The floor beneath his boots hummed gently. Lights glowed soft and blue. The dreadnought had taken damage, but it was alive, like the planet it had protected. He entered the command deck and looked out the wide glass window. His crew stood at their stations, working in silence. Some were tired, some were still in shock, but all of them wore quiet pride. Commander Lyra turned. Council message incoming. They want to speak with you. Jax nodded. Put it through. A hologram appeared. Chancellor Vorn, calm but pale. Captain Meller, Vorn said. You've done what many thought impossible. Earth stands because of you. The Council is ready to offer you a seat among the Galactic Defense leadership. A new role, a new future. Jax was quiet for a moment. Thank you, Chancellor, he said. But I belong here. Vorn raised a brow. Here, on that ship. Jax looked out at the stars. Watching, waiting. Because the next threat won't send a warning. Vorn gave a short nod. As you wish. Earth owes you more than words. The message ended. Across Earth, people cheered in the streets. Screens everywhere showed images of the dreadnoughts, glowing in space. News anchors spoke of bravery, strategy, and hope. For the first time in generations, humanity looked up at the stars without fear. They had been underestimated. No longer. Inside a hidden chamber aboard the Vigilant Star, Jax stood before a large screen. It showed each dreadnought's status, damaged but active, silent but ready. He pressed a button. One by one, the dreadnoughts began their return. Massive engines lit up. Each ship turned slowly and moved back into the asteroid belt. Hidden tunnels opened. The sleeping giants returned to their rest. They would not be deactivated, only silent, only waiting. As the last dreadnought vanished into the rocks, Jax turned to Lyra. Will they come again? She asked. Maybe, Jax said. But next time they'll think twice. He looked once more at the stars. We were never defenseless, he said. We were just waiting. He walked away, his coat drifting behind him. The stars watched in silence.